During this lesson, we are going to work on multiplication. Question 1. Calculate using the short method as shown in the examples. If we look at this example, we always start multiplying our unit digits by our unit digits. 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 4 is 8, let's look at example 2. 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 3 is 12. Let's do one example together. Question C. 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 3 is 9. Press pause to complete question 1 by yourself. Press play when you are ready to listen to question 2. Question 2. Calculate using the short method, as shown in the examples. 4 times 3 is 12, so we carry the 1 and we write down 2. Then 4 times 2 is 8, plus the 1 that we've carried is 9. Example 2. 4 times 4 is 16, we carry the 1 10 and write down 6. Then 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Let's do C together. So get out your pens and write with me. 5 times 3 is 15. We carry the 110, we write down the 5. Then 5 times 2 is 10, plus the 1 is 11. Press pause to complete question 2 by yourself. Question 3. Calculate using the short method. Let's do A together. 4 times 6 is 24, so we carry the 2 and we write down 4 units. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 2 is 18. Let's do one more together. D. 8 times 4 is 32, so we carry 3 and we write down 2. Then 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3 is 19. Press pause to complete questions 3, 4, and 5 by yourself. When you are done, use the memo to mark your answers on page 1. Worksheet 2. Let's look at this example. We are always going to start by multiplying the units digit by the top number. So, 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 4 is 4. We have done 1 times 43 in that step. Next we are going to multiply by 20. So we first multiply by 10 and we write down our 0. Then, because we've multiplied by 10, we just need to multiply through by 2. 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 4 is 8. Now we have done our 2 steps, so we add up to get our final answer of 903. Look at example 2 by yourself and get out your pen so that we can complete question B together. So, 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 3 is 3. Now we need to multiply by 20, so we first multiply by 10 and we write down our 0, and then we multiply through by 2. 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 3 is 6. Now all we need to do is add up to get our final answer of 714. Press pause to complete question 1 by yourself. Question 2. Let's look at example 2 together. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 2 is 14, plus the 2 is 16. So we've multiplied 7 times 23 in that step. Next we need to do 30 times 23. So we first multiply by 10 and write down the 0. Now we just need to multiply through by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. Remember that 2 was from the previous step, so we did not add it now. Now all we need to do is add up to get our final answer of 851. Let's do C together. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 2 is 8, plus the 2 that we've carried is 10. Next we need to multiply by 80. So we first write down our 0, and then we multiply through by 8. 8 times 7 is 56. Let's scratch out that 2 and carry the 5. Then 8 times 2 is 16, plus 5 is 21. Now all we need to do is add up, and we have our final answer. Press pause to complete question 2 and 3 by yourself. Once you are done, use the memo to mark all your answers on this page. Worksheet 3. Look at example 1 by yourself. I'm going to talk through example 2 with you. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 8 is 72, plus the 1 is 73. Then we multiply through by 30, so we write down our 0. 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 8 is 24. And we add up correctly to get our final answer. Press pause to complete question 1 by yourself. Question 2. Example 1. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 7 is 56, plus the 2 that we've carried is 58. So we write down the 5 and the 8. Then 8 times 2 is 16, plus 5 is 21. Look at example 2 by yourself and get out your pen so that we can complete F together. 8 times 7 is 56. Then 8 times 3 is 24, plus 5 is 29. And lastly, 8 times 2 is 16, plus 2 is 18. Press pause to complete question 2 by yourself. When you are done, use the memo to mark all the answers on this page. Worksheet 4. There's example 1 and 2 for you to look at by yourself. Get out your pen so that we can do question B together. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And 4 times 1 is 4. For our next step, we're going to multiply by 10. So we write down our 0, and then we multiply through by 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 1 is 1. Now we add up to get our final answer. Press pause to complete question A, C, and D by yourself. Press play when you're ready to listen to the explanation for G. Question G. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 2 that we have carried is 8. And lastly, 3 times 5 is 15. Now we need to multiply through by 60. So we first times by 10. Then 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 4 is 16. 6 times 5 is 30, plus the 1 is 31. Now we need to add up. And there we have our final answer. Press pause to complete the remaining questions as well as question 2 and 3. When you are done, use the memo to mark all your answers. Worksheet 5. Again, there are examples for you to look at, but let's complete question A together. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. And 3 times 4 is 12. Now we are going to move on to our 10. So we first multiply by 10. Then 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 4 is 4. Next we need to multiply by 200. So we first multiply by 100 and write down 2 zeros. Then 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. And 2 times 4 is 8. Now we add up correctly. To get our final answer. Press pause to complete the whole of question 1 by yourself. Question 2. Let's do C together. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. Then 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. For our next step, we are going to multiply by 3. So we first multiply by 10. 3 times 4 is 12. Remember to scratch these out. Then 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 1 is 7. 3 times 4 is 12. And lastly, 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 1 is 7. Then we need to add up 0, 4, 8, 4, 8. Press pause to complete the rest of question 2 by yourself. When you are done, use the memo to mark all your answers. Worksheet 6. Complete this entire table by yourself. When you are done, use the memo to mark your answers. Question 1. Do each sum from left to right, and remember that brackets mean do me separately. So, let's do B together. We must do 7 plus 3 in the bracket, which is 10, times 2, and our answer is 20. Now let's look at F. We have 6 plus the bracket. Remember, we must do the sum from left to right. So 6 plus we leave for now, but we write it down. 8 times 3 is 24. And our final answer is 30. Lastly, let's do H together. We have 40 minus the bracket. So we write down 40 minus first. 4 times 6 is 24. And 40 minus 24 is 16. Press pause to complete the rest of this page by yourself. When you are done, use the memo to mark your answers. Worksheet 7. Use everything that you have learned to complete this page by yourself. When you are done, use the memo to mark your answers.